Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's get cooking on some cockpit F-16 action here. So, okay, here we have our little cockpit hood or a control hood that houses our HUD and everything. I've taken some matte black or flat black paint and painted the inside here just because that's the way the real one is. And so, anyways, I just did the edge there about to where our control panel is going to be. So looking at more photographs, I've decided that the correct position is going to be about there, where the little instrument panel juts out there. We're going to line that up with the front edge of the rest here. So and then that's kind of how that looks. Now, what I did, I finally got my printer to print on the size paper that I wanted. I photoshopped and adjusted the contrast and everything so that it'd be a little bit more visible on a lot of the instrument panels. Before it was so dark that you couldn't make out a lot of the details. So got that fixed. You can see I printed 3 copies on here. I cut out one. That's kind of our master here. Then what I did after I cut it out, I cut out the, looks like little phone buttons there, cut that section out. Alright, so I'm not going to use this one because now it's not quite the right shape that we need, so that's why we did a couple here. So that goes away. And then this will go onto our cockpit like that. And I scored with an X-Acto knife where the bend is there, so that way it's a nice sharp bend. So, okay, now we discussed this before, but you can see the control panel comes way further than it needs to. So what we're going to do there is going to take an X-Acto knife and I'm just going to completely cut that off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll see you at the next step. Okay, I've got our 2 cockpit pieces cut apart here. Here you can see I went ahead and sanded the bottom edge. Got that nice. I don't care so much about this edge because pretty much all the material from here back will be going away. So, alright, next thing I did, I put some 3M adhesive, just sprayed it on the back side of our cockpit here. And what we're going to do, we're going to line up this bottom edge, not where the pilot's air tube goes. That's going to overhang just a little bit. So we're going to line that up and center it like that. Oop. A little bit off. Okay, just like that. Alright, and then what that does is it makes it so we can put this on and we'll center that as well. Okay. Okay, and that looks pretty good. So I should have painted this black before I did that. It's not a real big deal because that's not the main, this isn't permanent. We can pull this off pretty easy. But what that allows us to do, if you look on the side, okay, first of all we can see all the material that we are going to cut away. But before we do that, we can add our epoxy right in there. We'll want to make sure it's kind of up there at a 90 degree like that. Anyways, but we'll add our epoxy and we don't have to sit there and hold it for too much. We just have to kind of make sure it stays straight. So that's what I'm going to do next. And where this overhangs here, we'll put a little piece of balsa or something to kind of show that it juts out. But if you look on the real one, that juts out a little bit. And then this little handle, I don't think I'm going to get that detailed, but that's like a little handle that's kind of recessed back in that piece there. So we'll see how much gusto we've got, and we'll go for it then. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and add that epoxy right there so that our pieces, that pieces will be complete. Okay, now that we've got that glued on, you can kind of see how that turned out and everything. It's too late. We're going to annoy the neighbors if I try to cut this, but basically we'll cut this from where the cockpit, this part here, down to that back corner there, just to save a little extra weight and to get rid of this. It's not going to be needed. So anyways, the next thing we need to do is trim out the corners. You can see kind of where it goes out a little bit further than the edges there, so you can see it doesn't won't quite fit just yet, but that's okay, because what's in the picture is the stuff that goes around the edges like we showed in the last video. So you can see all this little area here. We're going to go ahead and trim that off and get it so that it fits inside the shroud there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so check it out. We've got our control panel cut out. Fits up there, and notice that I cut off the left side and the right side the control panels because they'll actually jut out a little bit like that. Let's see if you can see that or not, but anyways, so they'll jut out, and so we need to have those as separate pieces. I think I discussed that in another video. This side will jut out like that. So anyhow, now I've kind of removed this. It was a little bit crooked when I glued it on, but that's okay because we need to cut off this back part anyhow. I left the old epoxy on there just so it'd be easy to line it back up when we put it back together there. So anyway, but that's how that looks. But before we go any further, I'm going to pull that off. Let's go ahead and I'm going to paint this with a flat black. Now you want to rough this up a little bit. One of the things I found, if you paint just straight onto the prime surface, it's too smooth and you can easily, very easily chip the paint off. So we're going to go ahead and paint this right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint this whole thing right here because that needs to be black as well. So ooh, pretty. Anyhow, so here we are. We're freshly spray painted. Looks gloss right now, but it will dry to a flat finish. You can also see inside the cockpit there. Paint came out of the can a lot quicker than I thought, but I think we are pretty good because we'll be gluing the control panel on the front side there, so where it did get a little bit maybe heavy, it should be okay. So, and we're going to have to scrape off where we're going to glue stuff onto anyway. So, anyway, so there's the paint.